Good evening, Ira Epstein, and here we are with your financial market update. And this update right now is for 5:40 p.m. Central Time on this Tuesday. And we are at the 25th of April, 2022. I'm going for a great steak dinner tonight, so I'm putting these all out early. My wife said, hey, let's go to dinner. I love it. I don't know if I'll do steak yet or might do something else. All right. So let's talk about today because it's interesting. First off, in the aftermarket, or the beginning of the Wednesday trade, right, we're sharply higher. Today and this whole week is earnings, and we had a big earnings today. We had all day long reports, and the big tech companies, Alphabet and Microsoft, they delivered in a major way. We saw some relief in Alliance, the bank. We saw a disaster in First Republic. First Republic lost half its value today, the bank. It's down to about $8. If they don't do something immediately, it'll be totally worthless. So what do I expect? I wouldn't be surprised if behind the scenes something gets done by the weekend. But that's not the spot you'd want to keep your money. You know, that's up to you. I don't tell you to trade it or not. But there's real problems here. Nobody wants that bank. It lost $100 billion in deposits. Its revenue was worse than thought. It doesn't have the money to earn money for to make up the differences. The loans that are on the book, people don't want because many of them are interest only bearing. They don't pay off the principal. Why saddle yourself with regulatory money you got to put up for it and everything else? You're not making enough on the interest. It's a problem. They'll have to sell this, I think, at what we call a deep discount in an engineered sale, and I look for it to happen as early as the weekend. Okay. As for the other markets, interesting time, but where are we? A week from tomorrow, we have the FOMC meeting. In between, we're going to start talking jobs data, all the other economic data. You know, right now we're at the end of the month, so we're seeing many reports how April is, and you saw the new home sales. A surprise to everybody. Higher, month over month, year over year, prices were higher. People are out. It's spring. They're buying homes. And the supply went from 8.2 months to 7.6 months. So the supply is shrinking away. There's fewer homes. You want it, you better go out and buy it. It's that simple. Are prices appreciating dramatically? No. But have they probably softened to the point where reality's right here? I think that's where you're at. Okay. So we look at all this together and we try to figure out the next big chapter in our life and what are we going to do with it. All right, let's go to it. On the S&P, the market is still over the 18, and on this is the weekly area chart of closes, the 18-week average, and hanging near these old highs that we had done. On a bar chart, today was the big plunge. The market finally let go. You have a pattern of a higher high, lower low. No trend. You haven't had a trend since this low was taken out right back here about 4 or 5 days ago. The market tried to hold up until today. What number? I think you'd agree with me. The 18-day average of closes through Monday. Today it let go. Tonight, it's probably going to try, if it can rally, to fight back at that number. The pattern isn't tradable, though. You have a higher high and lower low. The Bollinger Band is what's stopping the break. What are the odds of staying outside of the Bollinger Band, the black line? 5% of the time. You're going to be the one that keeps telling me, I'm selling it. It's going to keep going. It's going to keep going. Yes, I want you to keep doing that because I want to be at the other side of that trade that you make, all right? And that's because you're going to be wrong 95% of the time. If I have enough cash, I'm going to be able to withstand your 5% of winnings to my 95%. Your 5% of winnings to my 95%. I'm going to beat you. And that's the idea here. That does not mean you're getting bearish that the market's coming down. Learn how to work with Bollinger Bands. That is not what they're saying. Learn what they're saying. If you look at momentum, you're down into oversold area. Any number under 30 is oversold. So you have a market that made a run at a Bollinger Band, is not trending, and you're going to be going next week into the FOMC meeting, and you're in the middle of earnings, big earnings numbers right now. In the micro mini NASDAQ, where did you go to? You don't see that you went to the Bollinger Band? First time. Bing. That was today. So now, here's what I think. I think the pros are going to look at this and go, okay, take money off the table, oversold. Maybe you get to the resistance point, but you're getting so narrow in those Bollinger Bands, so narrow that I think you're losing traders. I think they want to see the market break away from that narrowness. In the Dow, you have a higher high and a lower low, and you went back to the key average of the 100-day and it found some support there. When it lost the embedded reading, it lost its way. Often momentum, most of the time, in fact, momentum leads price. Price doesn't lead momentum. Momentum leads price, the way I teach it. What about the Russell? Let's come right here. Here is the Russell yesterday, Monday. Okay. We have a higher high, lower low. If you take out this low, did I say this yesterday? I might have, I don't know. But if you take it out, there's the possibility you're opening the door for the lower Bollinger Band. I didn't expect it all in one day, but that's what you did because you have lower highs, lower lows, but now you're oversold. Run, Will Rogers, run. Run away from that because you're at the Bollinger Band. Money comes off the table. Then we get to the bonds, and I have tried to explain to you, learn to use key moving averages. A 100-day, a 200-day are big-time averages, and we know the 18 is my line in the sand. So when you first get down to it, and you haven't been there for a while, since the beginning of March, and you do it in mid-April, respect that it's likely to have some supportive aspect to it. If the market's rallying to it, some resistance aspect to it. And that's what's happened. Have we changed the overall trend? No, it's still down. All the market did is rally back to neutral. It's gotten out of oversold territory. I don't expect to see large amounts of buying in front of the FOMC meeting. That would almost imply the Fed's either not going to do a hike. Forget that. Don't even get that into your thinking. It's not reality. They're going with the 25 basis points. You'll say, well, they're going to sound dovish. Get that out of your thinking. Okay? The only time they're going to get dovish is when the data turns dovish. And until the data turns dovish, which it has not. It is wobbling. We saw jobs data this week, jobless claims. They're climbing slowly. That is happening. I wrote a report tonight for my subscribers on jobs. And I show how the big boys, the Apples, the Alphabets, as they're losing people by design, they're firing them. I'm a little company out here going, this is the kind of company you want to be with. You've already got your stock and all your other 401k benefits. Come join me and let's build a monster. And guess what? It's working for a lot of those people. They're back to the environment they wanted to be in. They're creative. They're much more important. And they're getting hired like there's no tomorrow. It's called a harvest. You heard me. It's a harvest. Is the big boys let go of people that because they're so big, they got to do it? The people that need those people. It's harvest time. The seeds have grown. These people are trained. They're going to find homes. In the 5-year note, same thing. You got down to the number, getting your bounce. Dollar index. What do we have here? We have a market with lower lows. I can even say a higher high. It's really nothing. It's in a resistance zone sideways. I wouldn't get excited about the dollar one way or the other in front of the FOMC meeting. And in the euro, come on. If you've taken any of my Bollinger Band course and you didn't see this, trend up, looking for the resistance. What do you do when you hit the Bollinger Band? You missed it there, but close enough, all right? But here, you hit it, and boom, you let go. Learn this. IraEpstein.com under education. Run. Stop this tape. Run. Go there and learn this. British pound. Okay, I don't like the British pound. I told clients today to buy it, and I'm concerned about my position. I'm not going to share why, when. Not every trade works. I'm not wrong yet. We'll see what happens there. We'll see what I do with it when I'm through recording, because I'm going to write up my updates and where I put it. Higher high, lower low, nothing in Bitcoin, just sideways action. The market is no longer in the state of collapse. It's not a $20,000 market anymore. It's now a $31,000 to $25,000, $26,000 market, and it's building either a top or a base at that point. In Brent versus WTI, the difference is continuing to collapse. It's now 346. And as you can imagine, if I'm the Saudis and I'm part of OPEC, forget OPEC plus, I'm seething. Russia continues to produce all through the month. They said they were cutting dramatically. They haven't cut diddly. If you look at the seaborne tracking services, they are shipping oil like there is no tomorrow. And what's happened is the other members are cutting so that Russia can do that. Now, Russia's going to say, but I'm selling it at a discount. Any oil they're selling is less oil that the other members can sell. The problem is they don't want to get into a price war with Russia because Russia can only do one thing, keep producing. All right? It's got to pay for the war or end the war. It doesn't go away. And believe me, this war is going to come to a head sooner than you think. I didn't say winning. I said ahead. Why? Because in the U.S., you can already get the feeling that the Republicans don't have the stomach to just keep going forever. They want to see something happen. So there's going to be an offensive. And if Ukraine can prove they can do more and start really pushing Russia back, well, then Russia's got to figure out what its next step is. I read that 70,000 Russians have been killed. It's a crime. I'm so sorry. It's terrible. And that more keep going to the slaughterhouse is they don't make ground, but the Wagner group keeps bringing them in and these people. Where does this thing end becomes the question. Maybe oil's the camel that broke the back. I don't know. But you're back into all this area and you didn't hold the major moving averages. What you did do is you're filling the gaps in the charts. You're filling the gaps in the charts. That doesn't mean that we're not through. What's going against OPEC is all the economies of the world keep talking. They're slowing down, that they're going to keep raising interest rates. I'm talking the big boy economies, that they have to keep doing it to fight inflation. And very frankly, $78 WTI and 80 some odd dollar Brent is inflationary. So it's to our benefit that things happen to drive that price down. OPEC doesn't like it, and Russia, they need the money. They're doing things. Today, Russia comes out and says, Americans and the European Union, they're taking our assets. If you take our assets, we're going to take yours. Okay? What nut company in America still has assets that they could have gotten out and didn't? The ones that are there are stuck. It's that simple. They are stuck. In addition, there's a withholding tax that Russia's about to implement. So not only do you have to have the Russian permission to sell, and it's probably 50% of the value, now there's going to be a withholding tax. And now the next thing is we're going to nationalize you. Well, didn't Europe do that on parts already to Russia? So a little late to the party, Putin. Very late to the party, to put it mildly. And this is just, again, a lot of noise at this point. The real solution, please, call the war off. That's the solution. In gasoline, you're fighting your battle. Are we going to get to the point where this market starts that summer and summertime rally is the right grammar? Yeah, I think it will. This was your washout. The early bulls came out. The conversion of the refineries is done. The market's now waiting for weather and the norm to pick up. But gasoline prices reversed course this week and actually fell a little bit according to AAA. When we take a look at natural gas, I'm going to repeat, I think you're stuck on the top of 333, down right over here into this 213, 220 level, and I think you're caught in there for a while. What's going to be the catalyst to move this market? Let me think. Hot weather. When the hot weather comes, you crank up the electricity. I need my air. And all of a sudden, natural gas comes into play. This is that awkward time of year. You can be 80 in Chicago, back to 40. A lot of the country like that. But once we get into May, those May days start coming by mid-May. Air conditioning's welcome. And this market starts getting, I think, bids at that point in time. In the meantime, I want you to learn. One of the things you keep hearing me talk about are all these indicators. And, I get questions all the time coming to me, Ira, Why those indicators? Why the ones you're using? Well, the reason is after 54 years, I knew enough to which ones I wanted to use and which ones I didn't. You most likely don't. So we have this guide to technical indicators. It's a phenomenal primer. It's going to give you ideas. It'll take you down roads maybe you want to go. It's got pictures galore. It teaches you about them. And from there, you get to the point where you say, I think I'm understanding. You don't necessarily, for example, want to use a MACD with a relative strength, with the slow stochastic, with the Chalkins. I can go on and on with the names. No. You've got to pick the ones that complement each of the other indices you have. You want them to act as filters and you build your trading method. Does that make sense? So you want to learn, this is the spot to do it. And then you'll start taking things out. It's free. IraEpstein.com, free offers. Move your cursor to the top. You'll see an icon, free offers. Give me a thumbs up. Have a good day.